Corner of the map, the red Protoss player from ECVisualize, ladies and gentlemen. It's Rake. And his opponent to the upper left corner, the blue Terran from Axiom Esports, representing Axiom Acer here in the SC2ITL. It's Ryung. So, a TVP here, and we'll see what these guys want to get up to. As we'll see if it's going to be a game which, once again, doesn't pass the 10-minute mark. I don't know if we even seen a game which passed 10 minutes today. I really don't feel we have. Fantasy's first game was like 5 minutes. His second game was 8. Maybe his game against Hanfi was just over 10 minutes, but it didn't really seem like it. I genuinely don't feel we've seen a proper mid-game of a StarCraft game today yet. So, be interesting to see how this one goes. Ryung versus Rake, of course. Playing on the NA server, which is why Rake is called Bughouse. Kind of interesting to see the clan tag as ECVEU. I guess, I mean, yeah, on the NA server, EU, I guess it doesn't really matter at all, but anyways, let's see what's going to happen here. As Ryung looks as though he's quite confident. He is going to be opening with the command center first. Looking to move down to the low ground with this, pop that up with this SCV, pop down that CC, and again just get off to a nice macro orientated start to this game. And he's going to get away with it because right now Rake isn't doing anything funky, he's not doing anything weird. He's actually just popping a pylon over there, and apart from that just has a single gas on the way up alongside his gateway. Second gas actually now, so the potential there to do a little bit of to be a little bit aggressive, to tech up a little bit faster than you might expect. So we'll keep our eyes on this and see what he wants to do, but I mean he's very slow to add workers into gas, so it doesn't look as though he's really going to be racing towards this tech. Just not going to be racing towards a Nexus, which is kind of interesting. I mean, again, he's not scouting, so it's kind of pot luck, and in this scenario it probably would have been better for him to just stick on a single gas, take the gateway before he even starts mining, take the Nexus before he starts mining or anything, and then add on a cyber core, then start mining gas. He'll move down to the low ground here with this probe, quite far away from being able to afford a Nexus just yet. That cyber core on the way. A Zealot being made, of course, he can cancel that Zealot to help him out a little bit. He needs to be careful with this SCV coming in, doesn't want to get Engineering Bay blocked, and a second probe will come along to try and help this, and just try and deny as much hit points on this as possible. Although, with the Zealot already on the way out, I mean, it's going to be able to clean this up nice and quickly anyway. As Mothership core coming in as well. A very quick cancel, actually, from Ryung, and decides to just get rid of that nice and quickly. Not going to waste his minerals, get them up and rolling so he can continue with his follow-up, which is kind of interesting as well. No double racks, just a single racks into the gas as well. So looking to follow this up with a fairly quick factory in the next few moments, and potentially some aggressive mine play following the CC first. So Ryung really focusing on building his own economy and probably moving towards shutting down a bit of the Protoss economy as well, as that factory gets added in here. And again, the kind of standard thing to go towards in this sort of scenario is some form of drop play, whether it be with mines or with those Hellions. Zealot going to stand tall at the front of this natural expansion. Of course, he was allowed to finish because that Engineering Bay was a threat, something which Rake needed to clear out, or have the ability to clear out. And just start working away against this debris right now. SCV wants to come back in and get a little bit of a scout off, if possible. Of course, without a Reaper, you know, your vision is very limited as the Terran player in this matchup if you don't open with that Reaper. So this SCV trying to see whatever it can, but not worth committing all the way into the main base. He knows he's not going to keep it alive. You know, he knows he's not going to get up the ramp and see anything, so may as well at least try keep the SCV alive. He saw the Nexus, which is a nice little confirmation, and you know, just because he saw the double gas in the main, he wants to know kind of how fast are you expanding? Are you one base all in me? What exactly is going on? We do see the Twilight Council finished right now for Rake, but not using it for anything just yet, as it just kind of sits around. Bit of an ornament in the Protoss space. As we see a robot facility starting to be added on. We do see the mine production begin, starport added on, and a reactor onto this racks, extra barracks being added as well. So I mean, Ryung starting to build up towards his mid game. His small amount of harassment will be coming in shortly, and I imagine Rake's going to be well prepared for this with the robot facility already on the way up. He's going to have them observers out and the ability to shut down the mines nice and quick. So again, he shouldn't really take too much damage from this. I mean, a couple of workers here or there is kind of expected, but there shouldn't be any kind of major, huge, you know, shots going off from these mines. Rake should have plenty to be able to deal with those. As first mine just going to burrow here and sit, lie and wait, and see if an oracle's going to fly in and get blown up by it. but that's not going to be the case. No Stargate on the map, and we do actually finally see Blink beginning now as the first observer coming out as well for Rake. Also just adding on a couple of extra gateways and just setting himself up into his own mid-game. I mean, the Blink's going to give him a lot of map control and the ability to move around, as well as shutting down the drops quite nicely as well. It makes it quite easy to take a third base, and then transition into Colossi behind it is pretty much what we expect to see from Pros players. It's the way to play out the matchup right now, really, in PvT. And as that first observer across the map, we see the Robo Bay added on, so again that tech switch into Colossi is beginning. Now from Ryung, we do see the first medevac with a couple of mines in it, so heading across here looking to get a little bit of damage done. He's starting his own upgrades back at home, but gets intercepted by a couple of Stalkers, forced away for now and not quite finding his way towards that mineral line just yet. So as I was just saying, upgrade starting for him back at home. He's up to his 3 racks now, so again he's moving into his very standard mid-game composition you would expect to see from a Terran player. Just catching up on the stim and the combat shields with double tech lab, because again that was delayed a little bit by teching into the factory and these mines and medevacs very early on, but it will help his medevac count out as he continues in this game. 2 medevacs, 3 mines, and he's just going to be looking for a way to move in and get a little bit of damage done. Rake going to opt to take a fairly fast third nexus here, and that's not something you generally see from the Pros player, as these Stalkers don't have blink just yet, and as the mines burrow, it's just going to be 1 worker killed so far. And the other mine actually still sitting in his medevac, which is just hanging on by the skin of its teeth. So yeah, third nexus isn't what we usually see from the Pros players so early in this matchup. Generally the Pros players play defensively, and you know it's the Terran player who tries to take the economic lead in the game and then tries to just trade a little bit less efficiently, but works off of having a stronger economy throughout. So taking this third base early, it really spreads Rake out a lot, and it's going to come down to a lot. Him surviving in this game now will come down to very simply splitting his units well and shutting down the aggressive drop play from Ryung, which is what Ryung should be resorting to at this sort of point. He doesn't know about the third base just yet, but as soon as he figures it out, that should be what he sort of goes to. Okay, I'm going to try and be a little bit aggressive, try and pull you apart a little bit, because that is your weakness. A couple of probes go down to this mine, and the medevac on the way out of that main base. We'll see that this third nexus is finished. We'll lose the medevac though, a little bit sloppy there, and a little bit of a shame, but that mine still sitting in the main will be cleaned up shortly. For now though, we do see a couple of medevacs and a bit of a bio army moving across the map here, and we'll be looking to put on a little bit of aggression again. Up against a third base this early, does the Pros really have enough to defend? Well, probably with a couple of force fields and a Colossus, he probably does, but if he's got all of this positioned here at the third, a drop in towards the back of the natural could do a lot of damage, not just on the mineral line, but picking off a robo facility could be absolutely huge here. Ryung's just going to attack towards the third base though, and he comes up that ramp. There's a lot of units here, and that's something which Rake definitely hasn't skimped out on. He has a Stalker count, he has a Colossus as well, second Colossus, an extended thermal lance about to finish. There's more units coming across the map here, and Ryung actually opting to go into Vikings very, very quickly. Not going to engage just yet, so opting to go into Viking production very quick instead of just massing up medevacs and playing kind of heavy drop style, which is kind of what Maru likes to do in this sort of matchup. As you see this army from Rake moving forwards here a little bit, going to look for the engagement. Mine Shock does go off, Stalkers blink away from it, and not really enough Vikings just yet to take down these Colossi. And Rake, a little bit of a misclick there on those rocks, but he turns this army away from the middle of the map. Nice and quickly, Ryung just has to turn around and can't do much, and now he loads up into the medevacs, which is what I feel he should have been doing from the start, just trying to get this drop play working for him. He does still have another army moving over to the right hand side, so again, now we're going to start seeing, can Rake split up his army effectively enough to shut down these drops to minimize the damage he will take. Perfect observer positioning over here to spot this set of medevacs, so he knows about that, and in fact he already has some Stalkers in position. A couple of cannons coming in too, so not afraid to commit to this static defense, knowing that he's probably going to be under threat from multiple different angles. Just committing to this early, and that will help him hold on a little bit. Behind all of this, Ryung has only just now got his own third base up and running here, so not the end of the world, but again, it's not kind of the best of positions for him, as Zeld's going to be warped in to start dealing with this drop. The Stalkers and Colossus, which were in position, start to move forwards as well. It looks as though this won't achieve too much, but has it brought him the opportunity to come in and get some damage done over here? Well, these Stalkers moving forwards, they'll blink forwards and pick off 1, 2 Vikings here very quickly. Just gets that second one, now he got the third as well. And no real damage done again by Ryung. He loses a few units, doesn't really gain much. He traded away some Zealots, But that's about it. I mean, honestly, Rake has lost very little in this game. 5 probes is alright considering the mine's picked up about 3 of those. Stalker, a sentry, 3 zealots. He's lost nothing in comparison to 2 medivacs, 3 Vikings, a lot of bio. Ryung has not been able to find a way to get much done just yet, and as Rake has been on this kind of sick economy for so long, you see him, he's actually banking up a lot of money. If he could spend that, he would take a pretty significant supply lead, which generally isn't what you see the Protoss player doing in this matchup. Again, it's generally the Terran who's at a supply lead with a slightly less, slightly less expensive army, but just a bit larger supply. So Rake is in a pretty sick position right now. 2-2 starting for him, and that'll catch up the 2-2 of the Terran player. Corona Boost really helping to kind of close the gap on those upgrades, which were created by the fact that he didn't start his upgrades for quite a while to make sure he had enough units to defend the earlier parts of the aggression in this game. A few more Zealots getting warped in, and again, I mean, just got a couple of units here and there for Ryung. I mean, he's not doing badly, but I mean, his Viking count isn't looking great just yet because he's lost so many up until now. And I mean, he's making 4 at a time. He's adding on Ghosts at a nice time. He's going to have Ghosts at a point where he's going to be able to deal with the incoming Templar tech of his opponent / Archon tech. I wonder if Rake just hits a 2-2 timing though. I mean, his 2-2 is halfway done, and he could just try move across the map with this. I mean, he's not starting Storm, which suggests he's not going to sit defensively. He's going to get aggressive, morphing in all these Archons. I kind of feel as though Ryung is pretty much well prepared to deal with it though. I mean, 2-2's finishing. He's got Ghosts on the way. He is a bit supply blocked right now, which is a little bit of a negative, coming in towards this defense. But I mean, with a good concave here, I mean, does he have the Viking count? I guess is our main question. 11 Vikings against 5 Colossi. I mean, he could do with a few more Vikings. Still supply blocked at 177 here, which will not be helping him all too much as Blinking 4 as these Stalkers pick off a medevac. And the first blood of this skirmish in the middle of the map goes to Rake. Ryung splitting up here for Ryung, and looking as though he's preparing to take this fight. 2-2 finishing for Rake, so this is when he really does want to start fighting. Again, there's Ghosts available, but is there enough Vikings to deal with this? The Archons come towards the front, and oh my god, these Vikings are going to get absolutely destroyed by these Archons. The Colossi starting to fall ever so slightly, but it looks as though Rake is going to be able to push on through, and Ryung is in a lot of trouble. A time warp drop there to stop the retreating of these units. Some units coming in from behind. 3 Colossi still remain though, now down to 2 as Ryung does begin to close the distance with some of these units, but does he have enough? There's just so many Stalkers left over. A couple of Colossi survive as well, and Rake will take game number 2, and Axiom Acer are going to find themselves